Wise Gamer here, and I wanted to make a quick video saying that patch 10 and now 10.1 has been released for GRAV. So I just kind of want to go over some of the key notes here. My server is actually updating right now, so I'm not able to get in there and show you everything. I'll probably do a part 2 later. But I wanted to pull out some of the key things that came out of this patch. So first of all, let me just say it's early access and it's an alpha, so things like the first bullet on here are definitely going to happen. So dungeon instances have been regenerated, outside level ranges have been generated, and what happened on a lot of the maps from what I've heard is that the islands themselves have regenerated, as in like bases are gone if you built a base before, cave locations that were in one spot are now gone, they're in a whole different area, things like that. So if you guys see that, not really a bug so much, just kind of one of those things that happen in alpha, unfortunately. As they change things, sometimes stuff like that happens. Not saying it's on every server, but it's on a lot of them. Now, outside of that, they added some localization for German, French, and I think something else. I think German and French for now. Outside of that, they did some other things too. So they have planetary stargates now, which means you can actually go to other exoplanets outside of just the moon, which was the only place you can go to before. Speaking of the moon, you can actually go to the moon now on private servers, which was something that was bugged before, where it's a really weird thing with like shared IPs on server boxes and things like that that was causing an issue. So yeah, you can actually go to different exoplanets now and different moons that are on those ones also. So it's pretty cool. There's actually a whole bunch of areas. People are reporting that they're seeing monsters up to level 50, I believe now, 50-ish, 55, something like that. The max level in the game is still set to 42 though. We don't know if that's going to be fixed in the next patch or what's going on, but basically there's mobs that are level 50, but the max level is only 42. So you can get gear that's higher level than you, but you would have to like group up or something on mobs. But the biggest issue is if anything's higher than I think 5 or 6 levels above you, you only do 1 damage. So really, there's no way to take out those mobs, even if they were considered like, you know, end game boss mobs that are going to be higher level, so they can be way harder than normal, and you would need a group of people. You'd only be able to do 1 damage right now, so it's not really worth it. Let's see, another cool thing, they said Compass UI is now active, so I think what they're doing is they're actually adding new things to the user interface. They're trying to make like caves into doorways. I think they're changing the way the locator works a little bit too, to maybe add a compass, and then they're doing things like they're making the interface, like the bottom information is going to be changed around some. They're removing some of the text, like it says under here, from the HUD, so when you have a lot of people on, you can see like the names of everything, you can see like beacon here, beacon there, and all these different crazy things, and it gets a little bit cluttered sometimes and overwhelming, so they're trying to remove all that text also. They're also improving just overall the CPU optimizations on the server side and the client side, so things should run a little bit better. Another really cool thing that they did here is listed right here, teleporter rooms. So teleporter rooms, I don't know exactly how they work yet since I haven't been in the game, but basically you can build a teleporter room at one base, and let's say you're on a different island, or you know, a different base for a friend or something like that. You can build another teleport room, link the nodes together, and you can actually go between the two quickly without having to walk across the entire map or fly across or hop on a bike or something like that. They've done some other things like just change some visual models for the artifact sword, the laser fences, things like that. Nothing too crazy just yet. They've done a lot of balancing here too. The biggest thing that I wanted to call out is that the death stuff is way different. So it used to be when you died, you had a chance to drop vehicles. So that would include like your jetpack. So if you're somewhere like, let's say on the second island, you didn't uplink, you died and dropped your jetpack, you'd be screwed and would not be able to get back to your loot bag unless you built another jetpack and flew over there. So you had to literally make another one, which really sucked. Outside of that, they made it to where PvP is the only way you're going to be able to loot another player's bag. Now, I don't know exactly how I feel about this. Basically, your bag used to be unlootable for 15 minutes, and after 15 minutes, it was anyone's game. Now, if you die by NPC or by environment, so like you fall damage or a monster kills you or something like that, only the owner, as in only you, will be able to actually get that bag. And they wanted to make it because, you know, it needed to be a challenge to be able to get the loot. Like if you killed someone that was like level 42, max level, had all the top gear in the game, and let's say he fell off a cliff and died, and a level 1 came up and grabbed his bag, that level 1 would instantly get all that top level gear, and that wasn't really fair. So now if it's PvP, you can actually loot the items, or you don't lose items, but you loot the resources of that bag, but you don't actually drop the items. So that's kind of cool. If you die by a monster or something, you actually have a chance to go back and get your own bag. So the timer thing wasn't really working because people would like just camp the bag until you know, the owner showed up, kill him again, and then just loot him twice. Basically, it was really bad. Another thing that was pretty cool, I didn't talk about in the getting started video that I put up, I probably should have, but when you log out of the game, it prevents combat logging, which basically means you can't be in the middle of an NPC fight or in a fight with a player and then just force close the game. If you do, your bag will drop just like you were killed and you'll lose your items. So what they did is they have like a 15 or a 30-second timer. But however, if you log out, you would sit down for 30 seconds, kind of camp out until that timer goes away. It's common in a lot of games. They fixed it now to where if you haven't been in combat for the last 60 seconds, so the last minute, then you can actually log out instantly instead of having to wait, which is really nice because a lot of times you're just out gathering resources and you're like, man, no one's around, why can't I just disconnect? And you have to wait 30 seconds, which is quite a long time. Let's see, outside of that, they did some different bug fixes like I talked about as far as going to new planets, getting world events on new planets, including private servers, I believe, are going to get world events, or they're getting a fix for that very soon. Nexus nodes actually provide shields to your base now, so basically it's this big dome shield that goes around, and before it was supposed to like help repel mobs, but now it actually protects your base too. So what some people were doing is from afar, they would pull out like an assault rifle and destroy your machine guns that were guarding your base. They could just walk up and destroy whatever they wanted. So now the Nexus node actually blocks incoming bullets, but you can still shoot from from inside to the outside. So it kind of helps a little bit there too. Outside of that, let's see, they did a few other fixes as far as like let's see, like, you know, holes in the world that you could fall through and stuff like that. Some different item dupe bugs that were, you know, obviously a big issue there. And it says patch dance, a new dance was added. And so far, every single patch, they supposedly added a new dance. I don't know if that's necessarily true or if that's kind of like one of those things where they say, you know, removed Herobrine from Minecraft. But if they add a new dance like every patch or all these early ones, I'd be really happy. So basically, they pushed that patch out on the 12th. And then the 13th, which is today when I'm filming this, at least early on the 13th, they did a quick hotfix, which I was really happy about. So basically, when you travel to an exoplanet, it was on PvE by default, so they fixed that. You can see that there was some Steam issues, and some teleporters were having some issues as well. And then they did some more stuff as far as like the FOF, which is like your clan or your group, some stuff like that. Different mining resources weren't working. So what's really cool is they're starting to do hotfixes now. So before, one of my big complaints was patch 9 came out, which introduced moons, and then basically on private servers, it was pretty early on that we found out that, hey, anyone privately owned in a server box that shares like multiple IPs basically for servers, they aren't able to travel to the moon. It's a really big bug. And they kind of waited until patch 10 to fix it, where I really wish they did a hot fix, because now what happened is they introduced the moon to private servers and exoplanets at the same time, and it's like you kind of should have fixed what you started breaking to begin with before you add even more content. So I wish there was a hot fix a little bit earlier on, but you know what? They're doing a great job. There's only 3 developers, I believe, at the team, and they've had a few other people do like audio and stuff, but like 3 actual programmers developing the game. And for them to come out with this patch, you know, like I said, on the 12th, and then the 13th they did the hot patch right away, or hot fix, and then I think the patch before that, patch 9, was on like the 31st of January, so basically 2 weeks later they put out another one, and the game just got put on early access on like January 5th or something like that. So I mean, really, we're looking at like in just over a month, you know, maybe 5 weeks, they put out 10 patches, 10.1 if you count this, right? So 11 patches if you want to count the hotfix. And it's just insane that the rate that they're growing and everything too. One thing I'll do is I'll leave these patch notes down in the description. I'm sorry for the sniffles, by the way, guys. I'm still getting over my cold, but I want to make videos, so I'm doing it. But anyway, so one thing that I'll do is I'll link the patch notes down below. Another thing to check out would be the GRAV roadmap. I'll make sure I link that down below as well. The GRAV roadmap is really, really cool. It's hosted on Trello, and I think I'm saying that right. But they're showing all the future content that they're working, and they're actually staying really close to this. This is where you can like suggest new things, you can upvote things, kind of like a Reddit post would be. So they're talking about like dancing type stuff, player movement type stuff. So they're talking about double jump boots and wingsuits and swimming, and a real sprint button. Instead of having just the sprint stims, you can actually have an actual sprint button with a stamina bar. You know, different things like that. New vehicles, hover bikes, hoverboards, you know, all that type of stuff. Different planet type things. Interplanetary travel, player rooms and bases, NPC questions, weapons, player equipment, like all these really, really cool things. And then even talking about like Steam Workshop too, so things that people can put in there like player built videos or vehicles, armor sets, stuff like that. So I'll link this down there below as well, the GRAV roadmap and like suggestion community type thing. Really sweet. So they're talking like stuff that may or may not actually get in the game, but this is a lot of stuff. This is like where the game's being developed though. This is how they're tracking everything on the game that they want to put into it. Ooh, shields, that's pretty cool. That's a new one I haven't seen yet actually. Plasma armor too, nice. So anyway, sorry, I gotta get away from the game. It gets or this roadmap just gets so exciting with all the cool things. Unlockable dance move sounds really cool too. So guys, I hope you enjoyed everything in this video. I'll probably cover kind of a part 2 or like a let's play into the patch 10 a little bit, test out some of the different things for you guys, let you see how it works and everything too. Hopefully it's not too much of a spoiler. If you think it will be, please leave a comment down below and I won't do it. Otherwise, you know what, the title of the video is going to be Patch 10 New Features, and if you don't want to see the spoilers, don't watch it. I mean, the only spoiler would be what the blueprint recipe is, and you have to get the blueprint to know the recipe. So not really much of a spoiler, but anyway guys, I hope you enjoy. If you think it's going to be a spoiler, let me know. Otherwise, check out the videos in the links below here. I have my playlist for GRAV going on, so you can start seeing all the tutorials that I'm writing, these patch update things like this that I'm going to be doing, as well as the indie game preview series as well, since that's where I introduced GRAV, and I introduced a lot of other really cool indie games too. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next time, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.